You thought Carnage was scary? Wait till you meet his son Toxin. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. This is Top 10 Nerd and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. Come talk geek speak with me over on Twitter at VampX13. Today we'll be jumping into some facts that you absolutely need to know about Toxin, son of Carnage. So jump in and join me as we count down these top 10 facts. Facts! Number 10, Offspring of Carnage. I mean, this one is right in the title, but it's still really important to note that Toxin is the child of Carnage. But what does this mean? Why is it significant? Well, when it comes to Carnage being the offspring of Venom, it was a symbiote that was inherently more powerful than its sire. So you can imagine that if that is the way it went before, that is the way it's gonna go this time. Toxin is even more powerful than both Carnage and Venom as the grandbaby of Venom. Hence why this symbiote caused such a stir in the symbiotic world when it first appeared, especially when it came to the concerns of both Toxin's parent and their grandparent. Number 9, Patrick Mulligan. Patrick Mulligan was Toxin's first host and was a police officer. With Patrick, Toxin was on a journey to learn what it meant to be a hero and attempted to walk in Mulligan's footsteps, doing their best to walk the walk and talk the talk of being a true hero, despite having a secret darkness lurking within them that Toxin often had to fight against. Patrick unfortunately would be killed by Blackheart, the son of Mephisto, which was pretty bad news for Toxin. Toxin was then used by Blackheart to create his own symbiote warriors, and Blackheart took a chunk of the symbiote for himself as a sacrifice to be used in a ritual. Ouch. And friends, if you are loving this channel and this list, be sure to show your support for us over on Facebook, where you can also like and follow us. Yay! Number 8, Wanted Dead, Not Alive. The crazy thing about Toxin is just everything this poor symbiote has been through. It's more complex than other symbiotes due to it being the offspring of major sadistic villain Carnage, but still closely related to the now anti-hero, possibly full-on hero at this point, Venom. Which of course means that even to begin with, life was very much not smooth sailing for the symbiote. In the beginning, Toxin was actually actively hunted down by both Carnage and Venom, each symbiote wanting to destroy it for their own reasons. Carnage was basically worried about Toxin usurping it in regards to its evil ways and in regards to it being more powerful. Venom was worried about the symbiote's alignment with it being the child of Carnage and wanted to destroy it to avoid it becoming an even more deadly enemy. So almost as soon as it came into existence, Toxin was fighting simply to survive. Number 7, Eddie Brock. Even though Eddie is more well known for being the host of Venom, Toxin's grandparent, Eddie was also at one point bonded with the Toxin symbiote as well. Is that weird? Probably. Especially considering the two were forced to team up, and this was also a time when Eddie was terrified of symbiotes, and then they actually fought against the Venom symbiote together. Initially, they each had their vendetta against the new Venom, Agent Venom, aka Flash Thompson, but ultimately they were both dissuaded from following through with their plan to attack and kill Venom. Instead, the two teamed up and decided to accept their newfound bond. Eddie with Toxin decided to return to his more lethal protector approach, becoming an anti-hero once more alongside Toxin. Number 6, Suppressed. Not only did Toxin come into the world with both Carnage and Venom teaming up to try and kill it, but then the symbiote also later experienced a pretty traumatic time when it was suppressed using drugs, which basically just made it like a passenger going along for the ride with host Eddie Brock. This happened as a result of Eddie getting taken in by the FBI, who decided to expose the symbiote to inhibitor drugs, which suppressed its own voice and consciousness in Eddie's mind. Toxin truly has had a pretty toxic upbringing, if you ask me. Could you imagine existing in a body without any control or influence over what it did? Sounds horrifying. Although I guess maybe this is kind of like some weird revenge, because technically I think Toxin did that to Eddie in the beginning. I guess we can only hope that Eddie and Toxin's will and desires were similar at this point in time. Number 5, Agender. Although we used the term son in the title of this list, and I've said it before, and although Toxin is sometimes referred to as the son of Carnage, which is also why we use that term, Toxin is really neither son nor daughter. All symbiotes are considered agender, meaning they don't really have genders. Some choose to present more masculine or more feminine, and others choose to present more neutral, but Toxin and other symbiotes from Clintar don't really come with genders, and they reproduce asexually, all on their own. Although they do sometimes get some outside help when it comes to birthing new symbiotes, which the Venom symbiote received at one point from Eddie Brock, who remained bonded to it during a birth to kinda like support it. Sometimes symbiotes have been prone to use words like daddy, and some even seem more drawn towards certain genders when it comes to the host that they choose, but technically they don't have genders themselves, and are more gender fluid, usually when it comes to their presentation. Symbiotes being both agender and able to asexually reproduce also means though that at any point past their maturity, Toxin could basically produce an offspring all of their own that would likely be even more powerful even than Toxin, which I don't know what that symbiote is like, but I don't know if I want to meet that symbiote. Sounds insane. Number 4. Jubulile Van Scotter. Jubulile is the third host of Toxin. Toxin was passed on to her in the fight against Chthon, and before that she had her own symbiote and had also gained the Ray's symbiote as well. They were all together when they bonded to her. Jubulile's father passed away when she was a child, and a few years later she decided to set out and explore the world in his memory, as her father had been an experienced sailor who had taught her how to sail himself. She ran into Carnage, and a ritual he performed on her left her transformed, although not in the way he'd hoped. Instead of becoming his minion, she became empowered after being infected by a Darkhold augmented version of something similar to the Carnage symbiote, and which also tied her to Carnage and the villain's memories. Her connection to the Darkhold and the power of the symbiotes allowed Scotter to defeat Chthon, but seemingly at the risk of the lives of the symbiotes that she wielded. Seemingly anyways. Number 3. Many seeming deaths of Toxin. So many deaths. Toxin has seemingly died on more than one occasion, with the symbiote being set on fire twice and being suspected dead during at least one of those instances, back when Toxin was bonded with Eddie Brock and the two fought against Venom, who was bonded with Flash Thompson at the time. However, it turned out that Toxin survived on both occasions due to being so powerful and so durable. Later on, Toxin would be believed dead for a few years after facing Chthon, along with another unnamed symbiote and the Ray's symbiote. However, it turned out it survived this battle as Toxin reappeared during the King in Black event. Number 2. Current host. Currently, Toxin is bonded with Bren Waters. Bren and Toxin met at some point after Toxin's supposed death following the defeat of Chthon. The two decided to team up together, with Bren, a teenager, requesting that Toxin give them a more adult appearance, which makes sense if you're fighting crime. Toxin obliged, and so when fighting together, they look more like Patrick Mulligan or Eddie Brock in regards to their overall intimidating, muscle-bound stature. We met Bren during the King in Black event, where we witnessed him and Toxin going out only to be accused of being part of the symbiote invasion by one of Alchemax's guardsmen, who they got into a fight with. The guardsman, it turned out, was actually Bren's father, Oscar, who apparently does not approve of symbiotes. Number 1. Most powerful symbiote, or at least almost the most powerful symbiote. Aside from Null maybe, or just the King in Black in general, I think Null is in a league all of their own, and then it's basically between, for me, Toxin and Anti-Venom. But this is Toxin's list, so I think we can give them the most powerful title, at least here, where they're alone on their list. Toxin is considered to be so powerful because of its heritage. Toxin is the child of Carnage, which is already an insanely powerful symbiote in terms of what it can do, and in terms of its resistance to standard weaknesses, such as sonics and fire. Toxin is super strong, agile, fast, durable, possesses superior stamina, has its own more efficient and specific version of Spider Sense, can shapeshift, camouflage, heal itself, crawl on walls, create webs, is a skilled tracker, and has a toxic bite, after bonding with Eddie anyways. I don't think they had the toxic bite originally. What do you think is the most important thing to know about Toxin? Is Toxin your favorite symbiote, or is it someone else? Which symbiote do you think is the most powerful? Do you think Toxin could perhaps even take Null in a fight? After all, Toxin was weakened during the King in Black event, so they didn't really get a chance to take the fight to Null. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.